Oh, good morning, and hope everybody has had a nice, pleasant week. It was busy again out here as usual. Hey, Tom is waving to everybody, and I see Eric. This past week, we had we've been having a lot of break-ins in our area, all across the San Fernando Valley for people breaking in, and they asked us if we could do night patrols. So my LAPD crew usually goes out during the day. Well, we added on a night crew on Wednesday, and just as we finished, we got back to the station. The call came out that some guys had tried to break into a house, and the airship or helicopter was overhead trying to vector everybody in, and they were using a map that had a road that doesn't exist in reality. And
Ah,
yeah, it's one of those things where it is on the map, and you can get from point A to B if you are on foot or on a bicycle, but there's no road there, but it shows on the road. So now the helicopter is over total darkness, and they're telling guys to drive down this road which doesn't exist. So we stopped at the watch commander and said, you know, that you can't get from A to B, you got to go to this other way. They went around and they got them. So they were very happy. And again, it shows if you volunteer in your community, you know it a lot better than people that are there, a couple hours a day, then go home or whatever. But it was a great way to end the day. They caught the two of them. And what happens is we have these gangs come up from South America, primarily Chile, and they come up here, and even if they get caught, a judge says, okay, you didn't hurt anybody, come back in 6 months for your trial. And in 5 months, they get on the airplane and they fly home, passing their cousin who's flying back. So it's frustrating, but at least we caught them, and our what you call it, our command staff was happy that we stopped in and helped them. So busy week, and we'll see about what next week brings. So this week, I realized this morning I should have done this talk on Expo 86. Today is the 40th anniversary of the opening of Expo 86. So, but I had announced we're going to do the 64 World's Fair, so we will jump into that. Let me let Brock in here. What I realized was I had been restoring these pictures forever and ever, and I in one week I would have done the transportation area. Another week we would have done lake amusement or whatever. But I thought I would go back to the very first set of them that I restored years ago. What happened was when I first did it, I was doing them at 2,900 dots per inch on a Nikon 4 scanner. Then when I got the Nikon 5, of course, I had to go back and redo all these at 4,000 dots per inch. So I don't know how many of them we'll get through, but we're going to hop here and there all over the place. The very first batch of them we have is from 1964. I don't have a month on it, but let me share the screen. That's not the screen I wanted to share. Hang on one second. Oh, sometimes the computer. There, it does what you tell it to do, not what you want it to do. I don't know what's wrong with the damn thing, you know? Okay, here we go. So, Zoom meeting, share screen. It's, let me close, I'm gonna have to go back. Oh, there it is. Okay, screen two. Okay, does everybody see the General Motors Pavilion?
well, that'd be the Unisphere, but
Oh,
close.
okay, got the wrong screen. Stop share.
Right location.
Yeah,
Nice shot of the Unisphere.
try this again. There it is. Now the window showed up that I wanted. Okay. So now do you see General Motors?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. And is it
Light
large
day
enough?
there.
What's that?
Light crowd.
Yeah. So I don't, again, this is a 64. I don't have the month for it. Off to the left here is the National Maritime Union Pavilion, which was a giant open area where you could come and sit and look at a model ship. It was probably one of the calmest, quietest, dullest pavilions at the fair. Rarely shows up. But if we keep coming in here, it's a nice day. It's 63 degrees. General Motors is treating us well, and look how well dressed everybody is. I looked at this, I love the boy here with his feathered hat. He's got his red blazer on, and over here, people are all dressed up nicely and neatly and everything. And then down here, oh boy, look at all those souvenir stands just waiting for us to come in and grab stuff. So,
What's
ah,
that car sitting? What's that car doing sitting there on the right?
yeah, the car would be for the what you call it, Hell Drivers, the stunt show. So it's painted up on the
Oh,
side, Hell Drivers, and that would be just off here where you'd go over to their area. So General Motors had a locomotive on sale. They were real big in selling diesel locomotives. The same train was here with the nameplate changed to 1965 the following season. And it has all these glass panels in there to look at the insides of the locomotive. And it was a real live locomotive. After the fair ended, they took the glass panels out, put the real side on it, and it ran for about 40 years before it was finally retired. So
how'd they get that big heavy thing in there? How'd
they
they get
brought it
it
in
in?
on they brought it in on truck, a
A
big truck.
truck.
Yeah, there was no train line that ran over to this particular area, so they brought it in on a lowboy truck and took it off.
That's a lot of weight to put on tires.
Yep.
Yeah, they have those things though, and they come in with like 18, instead of a people say, oh, I got an 18 wheeler. They're about a 32 wheeler. They have wheel, and it really distributes it.
Mhm.
But you still have to be very careful about the route you take to make sure it can take the load. We were talking a couple weeks ago. Carol had taken a school trip out to a area called Solvang, and they went across a bridge that was weighted, rated for X load. Well, somebody tried to take a big heavy truck across it right after Carol's group went over, and they dropped the bridge into the river. So Carol's group had to take a very long way to get back around. But they do have computer programs. You can say, I'm going to take 22 tons from A to B, and it'll go, not over here, you don't. And people ignore
Well,
them.
it does weight and height too, because
Yes,
there may
right.
be low bridges. See, something like that probably would have been on one of those kind of low boy ones you were describing with all the smaller tires, but there's a
Yeah.
bunch of them, and they're also very low slung things, so they don't have to worry
Mhm.
about overpass situations.
Yeah, so
Or
sort of
has
think
to worry
of
about.
giant transformers to power plants and turbines
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
How close were they to the nearest train line they could extend a temporary track in?
Well, they're a good distance. When they're over here at the travel and transportation area, and just looking at the map here, they're at the far end of it. The nearest train line would have been all the way at the other end of the travel and transportation area, up by the subway. It would have been a heck of a job to put a train line in to do it.
Yeah, Bill, real quickly about bridge clearances. When we lived up in the Sierras, there was a truck coming down 395 from the Nevada side, from the north, carrying a huge, some kind of piece of machinery, monstrous thing. And it came to the only underpass or a bridge over the highway in our area. And actually, I think along the whole thing that way. And if they had probably checked their records, they were supposed to get off the off ramp, go up, and then go back down the other off ramp, because he hit it and he was about a foot too tall and took out a section of the bridge. Didn't do luckily any structural damage to it, but did a lot of damage to what he was carrying. And that truck sat on the other side of the bridge for about 4 days before they inspected it and did some other stuff, and I think turned it around and took it back to the factory where it had been built so they could redo it.
There are two websites out there that are great fun. One is of a bridge in Needles, California, and I forget the other one. It's called something like 9 foot 6 inch bridge, and they have all these videos of people ramming the bridge. And the one that's like the 9 foot 6 inch one, they have a sign that lights up, low bridge, stop, and people still go on. The one in Needles, and they have the sound, the cameras, so you can hear crunch and smash and everything. When I lived on Long Island, the Southern State Parkway has all these very low bridges, and it's made for cars, not trucks. Every now and then, somebody would go on a truck and do it, and they have a whole protocol that when they get wedged under there, one of the very first things they do is deflate all the tires so it goes down a little bit, and then they can try to drag the sucker out. So But yeah, go on, if you love seeing cars smashing into, or trucks smashing into things, there are, like I said, at least 2 websites with that. Okay, it's again a nice day. They had these fountains at either end of the travel and transportation area. One of them is still there for whatever reason. The park commissioner, Henry Stern, recalled it the Fountain of the Planet of the Apes. Had nothing to do with the Planet of the Apes. Who knows? He must have loved the movie. And some of these are blurry, you know, you get what you get, but here's the sort of line for the General Motors. They were supposed to enter on the other side of the building, and that whole area got full of people waiting, and they took them around the back side of the building, and now they would probably have about a 3-hour wait at this point in time.
Wow.
Gee,
Yeah. Again, it's blurry, but you get what you get. This is the pool, the fountain, not really a fountain, but a pool area over at Chrysler. And speaking of Chrysler, there's a giant robot zookeeper. So this, again, early view, as the fair went on, this white wall that the mouse was moving along here ended up with all sorts of banners trying to tell you to come and see the Lloyd Bridges show, to try to see the exhibit of gold, that sort of thing. By the way, if anybody is a good internet detective, the big dome, you can see has the sign "To the Moon and Beyond." People are looking for a copy of that movie to exhibit, and they asked me on Facebook if there's one around. I know I saw a while back somebody said that they had found a surviving print of that. And if anybody's able to track that down, these folks that are looking to do this, they want to go back and talk about how Douglas Trumbull worked on this, and it became the inspiration for 2001 and some of those sequences. So if anybody can find To the Moon and Beyond and who has it, please let me know. Again, this is the side you were supposed to enter on, so they've filled up all the way around here, and they go back around the other side where we saw them a little while ago. This, again, you can see it's an early view because there were so many people waiting out here on the line. They ended up putting awnings over this whole area to keep people out of the sun. Okay, car enthusiasts, look how empty that road is, huh?
Yeah,
So starting on the left side, the red one, what do we have?
that's kind of blurry. It looks like it might be a Chrysler product. Oops, there. It's very hard to tell. This other one down here, the white car to the right, that our yellowish car, whatever it is, that's a Chrysler. I think it's a Plymouth, if I'm not mistaken, but it could be. There's a Chevrolet in the middle.
mhm.
The other one's too much shadow and blur to see it. And the red's either Pontiac or Oldsmobile, I believe.
Yeah, it looks kind of boxy.
Anyway, yeah, they're the late 50s.
Notice how colorful they were, but you don't get that anymore.
No. And here we have the New York State building without, what you call it, scaffolding, which has
Scaffold.
been under for the last 200 years. But I thought this was a nice one. It has a nice shot.
They repainted the girders to a much brighter yellow now.
Yeah, the what do they call it? Something yellow, cheesecake yellow, something.
School bus yellow.
What's that?
School bus yellow.
They call it something
bus yellow.
else.
American cheese yellow.
And cheese. That's it. Yeah. Thank you.
You're making me hungry.
Go get a sandwich, Herb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is French's mustard yellow here.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Having a Grey Poupon?
Yeah, a Grey Poupon.
I like
Someday
the
we'll
brighter
get a,
yellow better.
Yeah, someday we'll get a good picture of the inside of the VIP level, but not yet. And down below here, I've mentioned one of the places I love to eat because nobody else would ever seem to go there was the Missouri Snack Patio.
Missouri Snack Patio.
And look how clean the balloons are, huh?
I was just going to ask you that, Bill. Did you ever attend the Missouri Snack Bar?
Yes, absolutely. It was really great because you could sit out there It just had hot dogs, hamburgers, that type of stuff. But it was a nice place outside. You could sit down and looking at all the cars going by on the freeway, or the highway. I have to put New York vernacular. But it didn't attract a lot of people because it was behind the main part of the pavilion.
Ah, okay. I'm glad to know that.
Yeah. So again, a nice clean snack bar. New York State. The Sky Streak elevator. And we're over by here. You can see in the background, the Belgian Village is going up over to the right, the Astral Fountain, Vatican Pavilion, and lots of people sitting down. They're probably already tired from a big day at the park. It's probably getting late in the day. Over here
The
is
trash is overflowing.
what's it? Yeah, yeah. Look at it there.
Very full.
Here's obviously Sweden. The Astral Fountain is huge. Look how big it is compared to the people at the bottom of it.
Did they use water power to rotate that?
No, they used a motor. It was on a set of wheels, and it used a motor that pulled it around.
No.
More of the Belgian Village being built over here on the left. We have Minnesota over here on the right. And just some of the flowers. I think we all know what that is. One of the bridges of the United Nations, as they were named. Here we got Wisconsin, and let's see if we see it in here. Yep, Tad Steakhouse, $1.19. Wow. So for $1.19, you got a steak, a piece of garlic bread, and a baked potato, and a small salad for $1.19. You know, what a deal that was at that point in time.
No cheese?
Well, there was a little cheese on the garlic bread, but
Okay,
Was that still a bargain? Was that still a bargain?
no,
Was that
Tad,
still a bargain in 1964?
I think the last Tads may have closed. I'm not sure, but
You got to remember too, America we weren't as cheese obsessed then as we are now.
yeah.
No, but wasn't this the Wisconsin Pavilion?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Well, aren't they famous for their cheese?
Yep. They had the world's largest cheese out behind this in a giant refrigerated trailer.
That
I wonder
kind
if any of how long it would take the mice to eat that cheese.
Oh, well, it depends. It was Mighty Mouse.
Whatever became of that? Did they ever eat the thing?
They took it back to Wisconsin, and it was there for about 20 years, and they finally decided that refrigerating it was too expensive, and they cut up the cheese and sold it at their gift shop, and they put a replica cheese in the trailer that's still there today, but it's no longer refrigerated.
So they were selling 20-year-old cheese.
Well, it's aged, you know. I mean, just think about, you know, how much people pay for aged Parmesan or, you know, that sort of stuff. So again, early on, no signs on the flagpoles telling you where they are, what nations it is. There's no little chain link fence, not chain link fence, but chain wire, you know, keeping you from going there. All things that changed over time.
Hey, Bill, I've got a two-part question here. First is, I'm presuming you've told us before, as if I don't remember, how many days total were you able to spend at 64, 65 there?
You know, I never added it up. I wish I had. I wish I had kept a journal or you know, something of it, but I really don't know. I first went, I mentioned, with my family, and that was enough. My father and mother said, 5 young boys at the World's Fair, we've had our last trip. So after that, if I could go on my own. So I went an awful lot, you know, just buying a ticket going. I also had a friend whose sister worked at the Bell System, and she very often could get us in there for free. So depending on her work schedule, and that was a lot of fun. Her friend had bought a brand new 64.5 Mustang. The little things you remember: red convertible, white interior. And it would put me, Mike, and my brother Jim in the back seat, drive us into the fair, and we were in heaven. I mean, it's the first convertible I'd ever been in, and going there with these two cute-looking gals that would, sweet talk the Pinkerton guards into letting us in. It was heaven. And I was there with the Boy Scouts a couple times, the Scout Service Corps, and then our troop would just go and visit. Then I may have mentioned this other times. My friend Bob called up one day and said, "Do you want to go to the World's Fair?" And my mother wasn't home. My father was at work, and I didn't have any money. So I took my coin collection and punched all the silver dimes out of the coin thing, and left a note, going to the World's Fair. Don't know when I'll be back. And I was having a really great day there at the World's Fair, and Bob looked at me, and I'm Catholic, so we had no meat on Fridays, right? So Bob looks at me as we're eating lunch and said, "How come you're having a hot dog on a Friday?" And I was just mortified. And I was like, "Oh God." And I had no more money to buy anything else. So I figured, well, I'm halfway through it. I might as well go all the way to hell. But I pleaded with Bob, whatever you do, do not tell my mother. So yeah, I had lots of adventures. I wish I knew how many times it was, but it was a bunch.
Didn't they have a
Well-
confessional at the Vatican Pavilion? You could have gotten
Yeah, maybe.
okayed on it.
Yeah, but I'd still be there doing Hail Marys. No,
How many
well,
times you think? How many times you think you were there? Maybe 50 or more.
I really don't know. I wish I knew. I was paying no attention to it. Probably over the 2 years, probably, yeah. Because again, it was there for summer, and it was, essentially free for me for a lot of days. And what else do you do during your summer? You ride your bike, or you play baseball or something. No, let's go to the World's Fair. And even there, I had the inclination that it was only going to be there for a short period of time. Might as well see it now. But even if it'd be like if you lived in Anaheim and you had a free pass to Disneyland, you might as well go, right? It's there.
Well, I
Well,
can.
we presumed a lot. Okay, let's put it that way. But then that's based on my second question is going back to the Missouri Snack Bar, which you seemed to mention before I asked you that you enjoyed dining there. Were you cognizant yourself of wanting to go and dine at all the other little snack bars and restaurants there as an excitement to do, or is it just okay? Well, you only eat at one or two places all the time, and you could care less about the rest of it.
The major factor was the price. There were a lot of places I would have liked to have eaten at, like I did not eat at the Festival of Gas Pavilion, which Albert Fisher would tell you is one of the better restaurants of the fair. I frankly could not afford it. It got to the situation where you said, and I ate, and Carol will know, I'm a junk food person, but if I went to one of those, that would take me the price of maybe 4 or 5 more visits to the fair for main gate admission. So a lot of times, frankly, what I would do is pack a sandwich and just take the sandwich in a paper bag, and they let you do that. And then you'd go to some place like the snack bar, get a soda, maybe some fries or something hot. But there were an awful lot of restaurants that, in retrospect, I really would have liked to have tried, but I simply could not afford it. I joked about it, but it was really true. The things you remember, to go to the fair, I think it was $1 for kids and $2 for adults the first year. And one of the ways during the summer, I had not planned for it in the first season to build up a lot of money by shoveling snow or anything the winter before. So when the World's Fair hit, one of the ways I paid for it was if you recycled soda bottles at that point, it was 2 cents for a small soda bottle and 5 cents for a large soda bottle. And I'll tell you, there wasn't a soda bottle to be found on the streets of Baldwin within about 5 miles of where I lived for those 2 summers, because I just would go around where all the parks were. I knew, like, parents would go to a little league game and they would just throw their soda bottles in the trash can, and I would go down on my bicycle, get a big bag, fill it up with soda bottles, and bring it back and recycle them. So when you're carrying giant bags of dirty soda bottles on your bicycle, you can't make a lot of money. So the things like the Treehouse Restaurant and others were just something to dream about.
Did you ever see or meet Walt Disney?
No, I did not. He was at the fair, but if he was there the same day I was, we never got introduced. So no, I did not.
Aw,
And he was gone, of course. I started at Disney in '76, so he was already
oh,
gone.
he was already
Time.
passed away.
Now I look at a picture like this and you go, where is everybody? I mean, look how empty that is.
You know, when you talk about wishing you kept a journal, I second that 100%. My memories now are so confused with things about the fair that I learned much later, like from your pictures, that I can't even remember how many days I actually went to the fair and how many days I was doing other things like the Empire State Building and so forth.
Yeah, I wish I had done it, but I was 12 years old. It wasn't high on my list. Now, a couple years just after the fair, in '67, I went out to Philmont Scout Ranch and I kept a detailed journal and a little spiral notebook, which I still have, of everything we did. And that, if you go to my site, billcotter.com, and there's my whole trip to Philmont, day by day by day, I had the journal. And, because otherwise I'd look at some of these pictures and go, where the hell was that? Well, now I can look at the journal and say, we stopped for lunch at the so and such state park, and and recreate it. But it's life. You're going through it that day and you don't realize that 60 years later, you're going to be talking about it.
Bill, was
Yeah.
this, did they re-clean the, oh, I forgot the name of them, but the eating places with the big balls on the top, did they clean those between the seasons?
They did. I've
Okay.
actually I've got a picture of them out there
Brass
steam
rail.
cleaning them.
Yeah, brass rails, yeah.
Yeah, the brass rails. They're out there steam cleaning them, and they did their best. But you can definitely tell a '64 versus 65 season.
Well, I
Bill,
was gonna say, reason I asked that question was I was noticing that a lot of these trees seem to be just budding out. So
Yeah.
it's probably early in the spring, it might be early in the spring of the second season. Or,
This is
well, you
early
said
on.
that when did they build the Dutch Village?
They were
Belgian
building
Village.
'64. It opened in late '64. So these
Okay,
these
'cause
are all early '64. To give you an idea of how early these are, again, this is all white. But if you go over here, this building is Japan. It does not yet have the words House of Japan on it. So again, there were things that were going. If you look here, there's all sorts of construction crap in the background here, but they're still putting things together. So this, again, these pictures were taken very, very early during the '64 season.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say maybe because the reason that there aren't so many people there is that it's after the opening, which everybody wanted to go see probably in mass, but it was still being finished in middle of the week and stuff like that,
Yeah.
early in the season when it's colder and all that stuff. That's the reason why you're not seeing some huge crowds in some of these pictures.
Oh yeah, absolutely. New York
Did they ever
Telephone.
consider abandoning the Belgian Village when they realized how late it was going to open?
Yeah, they had a couple big issues going on with that. There was another pavilion, the World of Food, which was in a similarly late start. That was going to be right inside the main entrance, right off the subway.
Gotham Gate.
Robert Moses decided he did not want a half-finished pavilion right at the entrance to the fair, so he ordered that pavilion torn down, and they got in a huge court battle that lasted about 4 years. However, he was friends with the guy, Robert Strael, I think was his name, who was building the Belgian Village. So he wasn't friends with the World of Food guy and he tore it down. He was friends with the the Belgian Village guy, so he let him continue. So it's the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Yeah, but it was so much of an effort to build the Belgian Village, and it was so late in opening. Why even bother?
Well, after a while, you sunk a certain amount of money into it and you try to figure, do I walk away from that or do I finish it and try to make it back? So this,
Why did they start building it earlier? If they built it earlier, they must have realized how long it was going to take.
No, they started and then they ended up with a big strike, and the union went on strike and it stopped. It sat there without any work being done on it for quite a period of time. So it was
Okay.
it was a union issue. Now this little truck here is kind of unique. It's basically the New York Telephone version of an armored car. It would go around and collect all the coins out of all the payphones. So, you know, they kept a low profile, but you could drive around, open it up, and it was very well secured that if you did not have about 6 keys, you couldn't get back into it. But they drove around, collected all the coins, and luckily had no issues during the fair. So let's go to the next batch of pictures. This next batch, let's see, move it over here so I can see a little bit better. I don't have a date on this one. Again, some of these are blurry. You keep them because this is the very second set that I did. A bunch of women in kimonos walking by.
I was gonna say Japanese nuns.
Yep.
Yes, right.
Japanese nuts.
And this one I get a kick out of because they had the crowd control barriers here, but they actually did them in the fair or New York City colors, the blue and the orange. So they keeping people off the grass or something there. This whole area here for this, I just love the shot of the General Motors Pavilion. It's got the what you call it, the luminaires here, and then nice scarf, and it's again, the trees are not all out there and everything, but it's a nice day.
Probably those trees are still there.
Yeah, a lot of them still are. So here we have the Tower of Light, Johnson Wax, the Tipperary Band Pavilion. Over here, one of the family phone booths, a glider ride coming through here. But the weather looks nicer because if you start looking at the people sitting here, I mean, I think he's wearing a tie down here. I saw this guy's still wearing. This is when people still wore a lot of hats. But what's nice is that guy's hat's on his head the right way. Today it'd be a baseball cap pointing backwards. There was a guy in the news last night. They were talking about Spirit Airlines shutting down, and he had his hat on sideways. And I'm like, what?
Ah,
With people? One of my favorite things is a picture of a guy at a ball game, and he's got his hat on backwards, and he's holding his hand up to keep the sun out of his eyes. And the big caption, people unclear on the concept. You know,
He's a BYU.
Has no idea how to wear a hat.
yeah,
There's a woman on the right wearing high heels to walk around the fair. If you zoom over to the right, see
yes,
there, you
look
see the
at
woman?
that. Yeah,
High heels she's walking around in.
that's insane. My mom would
those are
wear high
really
heels
high.
everywhere like that. It's just insane.
Bill,
yeah.
I can't stop thinking about you, like Cynic, well, the compelled booth, half-eaten hog, asking the player, "What am I to do this, please?"
It's a weird world. Over here is a street sweeper, so cleaning up the streets. And then we have here one of the many General Foods arches, and if you look on it down here,
You know, I wonder if they used Wayne street sweepers.
yeah, I don't have too many shots of the street sweeper, but it would go and pick up all the trash, and a great way to do it. But I guess you can only do that when the crowds are up to a certain level. So down here we have General Foods Arch 4, and then they have You Are Here and a little ad. And down below, our first spotting of the day of a nun. This is outside the Texas Pavilion. So again, what the fair was great from a photography point of view with all the flowers, even though they ran into a whole bunch of financial issues and everything, they still kept the flowers up and did a good job on it. This is one that didn't last too long, the circus over right by the monorail station. Again, Mommy, Daddy, take me to the World's Fair. Let me pay extra to go to a circus that I can see for the next 200 years. Well, no, they didn't last 200 years. There's hardly any circuses around now, but people just, why go to a circus? I saw a circus last year. I can see a circus next year. Let me go see some dinosaurs.
Actually, circuses are still around, but they have no animals.
Yeah.
Very
They
few
decided
animals.
that it was cruelty to animals after all these years, and
Yeah.
they don't even have a horse in it.
Oh,
So-
wow.
You see motorcycles and that kind of junk.
So here we have the entrance to the Santa Maria, and over here, just off to the side, is the Barada Lake Cruise. Those are on pontoon boats that you could cruise out onto the lake, and they had a cooler on board and have a soda and go relax. Over to Florida. Between the seasons, all these flowers were taken out. Not all of them. Some of them were left behind, and they just, they weren't watered and froze to everything. So I've got some pictures of them looking kind of ratty. But at the end of the first season, that basically anybody wants to take the flower, take it home, because they're just going to die. So you'd like to think that the remnants of one of these is in somebody's garden in Astoria or someplace. One of the entrances over to the fair. Here's one of the entrance pylons we've seen before. The Swiss clock. So it's 2 p.m. Few people coming in, not overly crowded. Very bare trees. Monorail going by, another souvenir stand. This guy always reminds me of Cosmo Kramer from Seinfeld. I don't But again, it's real early. If we look here, we see a couple things of importance. A nun. And they're still building parts of the Minnesota Pavilion here. So again, not everything got done on time. There was still stuff all being erected and going up. You can always see little bits of things. It doesn't really show too much, but there's a little thing in here where you could take a canoe ride. And the idea was that the water would be propelling you along, but people managed to get their canoes jammed at about a 45-degree angle. The canoes didn't last very long. You could also go trout fishing, and it was supposed to be catch and release, but again, they're still building part of the pavilion here. More nuns, again, early on, because this is Louisiana's Bourbon Street. They were supposed to have a giant show in here by Michael Todd. A minstrel show. I think it lasted 1 performance or 1 night or something and closed. So this white area here was supposed to be listing all the big name stars that were on the show, which didn't last. The state of Louisiana said, we don't want anything more to do with this. It's losing money. So they took the name off. So it just became Bourbon Street. But this was one of the big flops of the fair. And then it was redone for the
what's with the big ugly white wall?
Yeah,
Look at that
it's
big
all
ugly white wall.
big ugly. Yeah, it is. There's this little sign here. Let's see how much this shows.
That's because I was going to say that's because New Orleans used to be known as Big Ugly before they changed it to Big Easy.
All
Sign
right.
for Jazz Land. Up here, there's a
Let's put some
theater
murals on the
cafe.
wall.
Now you
The big
figure
ugly.
how many people would actually go up this flight of stairs to go into this theater cafe? It's certainly not ADA compliant. But yeah, New Orleans, they later for 65, they redid this area, put a bunch of grill work out and try to make things more appealing. But it didn't work.
What's on the other side of the wall?
We'll hopefully see that more. We'll get to that. The Vatican, this is now up in Kennebunkport. My friend, when we went up to visit her a number of years, was not telling us what we were going to see, but she was beside herself telling us, you're going to see something you're going to like, you're going to like, you're going to like. It came around the bend, and there it was. So still there today on the monastery grounds. Little New York. And then snack bar thrown up in the parking lot out here, so we can see the signs out here for Dick Button's Extravaganza, and then the little eating area out here. Again, all sorts of things still being finished, piles of dirt and stuff all over the place.
Didn't those fiberglass panels on the New York State Pavilion kind of fade due to the UV light after the second year?
On the New York State, no. New York
Yeah.
State, they lasted fine.
I mean, the colors probably washed out from the UV light.
No, there's actually a plastic panel over these. So there's a white panel that was protecting them from it. And they lasted just fine through the 65 season. Because I've got pictures of them back in 70, 71, and they're still looking pretty good. But it's all a question of what time of day. And again, these are all transparent. So if it's a dark and gloomy day, you don't get a lot of light through them. The Armory Sphere, which was stolen outside the Queens Museum at the time, the New York City Pavilion at the fair. But then Queens Museum, some guys blowtorched it and rolled it off into a truck. They got some of the figures back, but not all of them. But they got them back about 38 years later after they were stolen. Somebody was cleaning out somebody's apartment and found one of them, went to an art dealer to get a quote on, is this thing worth anything? And it was, oh my God, but yeah, somebody had that on the wall of their apartment for 38 years.
Gee,
Those New York panels, were they you said transparent or translucent?
Translucent.
translucent.
Okay.
Again, we're taking a glider ride tour, so we're going by the Hollywood Pavilion. Thailand. An escorter, Central America and Panama. Caribbean Pavilion over here. It doesn't get in a lot of shots. I'm not sure why some show up all the time and others don't. This I thought was a real nice one. The fountains are not on because they're probably restocking the fireworks. But look at the nuns here. Yeah, looks like they are on a mission. They are the wind's blowing, but they're not going to let anything stop them. They're on their way. But they probably heard that my brother Jim was misbehaving over in that area. Okay. But the nuns seem to have a thing for my brother Jim. And here they are going up to the bell system. So this was again, if you go to my site, you can see I've got about 3 pages, this microwave tower being built. But down below, this is where all the video feeds and everything from the fair came in and out of the fair, and also the telephone connections.
Why
Oh,
is
shoot.
why is the tower leaning there?
Because
See the lead on the tower?
whoever took the picture is leaning, so I just didn't straighten this out. Yeah, I was going to say that over here on the right, I almost think it's Bob Gurr.
Yeah, it does. The rubber shoes.
Yeah. Even back in '64, where would you go to buy a pair of shoes like that, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Thrift
also
shop.
just the things I get a kick out of. Let's take a suitcase and go visit the fair. I mean, people had big purses.
When you talk about all the communications at the fair, and then think about today, at the fair, there were probably 3 video feeds. And today it would be everybody with their cell phone.
Yeah. Back then, imagine how many cell phone antennas you would need around the fair today with all the people. I mean, you're talking about saturation. But yeah, this was all prefabricated steel, and then these white panels are added on the outside purely for looks. But down here was the entire switching center, and then they ran buried cables out to various parts of the fair. So if you were coming there to do a remote, you could plug your truck in at RCA. They had a cable access point there that would go straight out here. So if you were a TV station from, say, Duluth, you could come out here, plug it in, and hey, live, I'm at the '64 World's Fair. Again, this is an angle because people take pictures at angles. Sometimes I straighten them out, sometimes I don't.
Well, you were making a comment about the size of the purses, and probably part of that is back in those days, you hear the old term, the woman's going to the powder room for the
Yeah.
restroom, but they had a reason it was called that, because women, when they went to the restroom, touched up their makeup constantly because you wanted to look your best all the time, along with, dressing nicely for the fair and all that. It's all part of how things were in those days.
I thought they were just carrying a brick so they could hit people with it. So in this one, I think this was, let's see, July. Yeah, July '64. So first shot is the fireworks, and the next shot they're getting at the fair. So they probably got there that night, had time for just one picture, and the next day they come back. This again, sometimes you end up with pictures you just love. And this is one. Down below, you have all the brand new subway trains that have just been delivered for the fair. You've got the brand new Flushing Meadows Shea Stadium in the back with all those great colored panels. I just thought it looked like space age confetti. These flags were flags of absolutely nothing, no nations or anything. They're just geometric shapes that are there to look great and go in the wind. But you know, to me, with the excitement of these people walking in from the subway stop behind them, coming into the fair, you know, just thinking about, wow, what a great day you have ahead of you.
That woman with the white bag looks like she was checking her smartphone.
Yeah, let's see what
She's a
she's.
time traveler.
Looks like she's getting her sunglasses or something. I
Ah.
think. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, she does look like she's checking her phone.
Nobody's smiling.
You
The
know?
other guy's
never-
reaching for a concealed weapon in his coat there.
No, he
One
was
smiling
hiding
face.
his phone. They didn't want you to know they were time travelers, so they had
That's
to
true.
hide
That's
the
it.
phone.
I never realized they had flags up on the subway too.
Yep, yep. So over to Ford, you know, it was interesting. Living in Brooklyn, Long Island, I always thought of Ford making cars. But I remember when I first went up to our Boy Scout camp in the Catskills, we drove past the Ford dealer and they had, you know, a whole bunch of cars, but they had a whole bunch of tractors on display. Because being a city boy, I didn't realize Ford was a major manufacturer of tractors. And that was
Yeah.
one of the things they had outside their pavilion were all these different tractors, and they encourage people. You can see the little stairs on them. They encourage people to go up, pose for pictures, and deal with it. And it was to me just kind of a eye opener that, you know, the world you know is not the world that's, you know, that other people know. If you
Yeah,
look,
I had an uncle that was a grape rancher in Fresno, and we'd go to visit them. I remember the first time I went there, it was a Ford tractor he had. And the coolest thing ever was the second visit, the second year we went there, I got to drive the tractor, pulling a plow behind me as my dad and he were doing other things. They showed me what to do and how to do the straight line. So as a kid, the first vehicle I ever drove was a tractor.
isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And you know, it just reminds me of Tom Sawyer painting the fence. You know, hey Brock, do you think you're man enough to plow this field? We'll stand here with our beer and watch. And obviously the Mustang is out. It's a nice little black model sitting there on display.
It's a nice blue Mercury up in the skyway too.
Yep. Think of all the convertibles. And again, here's a young Brock getting ready for his day in the field.
Yep.
That's right.
Bill, can you go back one?
Yeah.
Yeah, just can you enlarge the promenade there? There are some lamps that look like mold cast lamps. No, up on top. Yeah, all the way up and now to the right.
There they
Yeah,
are. Yep.
there
Those
they
yours,
are.
Joey?
No, but they used mold cast lamps in other on other venues other than the New York State Pavilion.
Yeah.
Where is it? On top of the tunnel?
Yeah, on the top of the
Yeah.
tunnels. They'd be shining
They're light.
up
Yeah, they're
lights,
lighting the
Pylons.
the building.
pylons. Yeah, the big
500
pylons
watt
or-
mold cast lamps.
Yeah. Just think
Good
one
eye.
of those could be in Joey's tree today.
Maybe.
Over here, we're at the Texas Pavilion. You can see the signage for it here. The monorail going around. More of Texas. This again did not do too well. If we look in the very back, there's an Orange Julius stand here. On my side, I have letters from the Orange Julius people to the World's Fair saying, you know, this isn't working out. Nobody's coming here to the Texas Pavilion, so they're not coming here to Orange Julius. And we've been trying to be really good people and keep up everything, but you have to reduce our rent or we're not going to be back. And I gather they did come to an agreement. But you can imagine these poor guys. They put all their money into a juice stand or drink stand in a pavilion that nobody goes to. Talk about bad luck.
What was the deal about the Texas Pavilion that made it why, there was no reason to go there? It was just kind of bad show, just
No, it was
kind
a
of
great
boring.
show. It was an absolutely great show to Broadway with love. But the problem is the real Broadway was only 30-minute train ride away. So again,
Ah.
we'll come to the World's Fair, and you're gonna go to the World's Fair to see dinosaurs or Futurama, that sort of thing. And if I'm gonna go to Broadway and pay, it was not a cheap show. So and it's gonna take me 2 hours out of my day. So I'm gonna take 2 hours out of the day away from the the dinosaurs. And I could, for almost the same money, I could go and see, Below Dolly or something, with some name show with named people. So they had real high hopes, and it was a well-received show by the critics. You can go and buy the soundtrack on CD today, and the songs are entertaining. The costumes, and again, I've got them on my website on the Texas Pavilion page. It was really, 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 really well done, but it served an audience that didn't exist.
Yeah, they thought it was a good idea that we're going to pay tribute to New York where the fair is happening, but didn't think about the real, like you say, the real. It's like saying, come see the sights of Disneyland at the Anaheim Convention Center, because it's like,
Yeah,
well, or I can go to
exactly.
Disneyland itself and see the real thing.
Or I don't know, how about the California Adventure in California?
Yeah, well, that was a question mark from the beginning for some of us.
Yeah. Well, if
Hey,
you
they
had
have
done the Texas Pavilion, say at Expo '86, it might have been a huge hit. Again, it wasn't a bad show.
Yeah, there it would have worked.
There was an orange Julian sign back there. I always just associate that with California, not Texas.
Yeah. Now here, I don't think, I don't know what these costumes are here. It's a different order of nuns that wearing habits, or Mennonites, or I don't know what they are, but they're certainly.
Do they get so much time off from the convent that they have the time to spend at the fair?
Yes, the Catholic schools were all closed for the summer. That most of these nuns were teaching orders. So all year long they were, teaching us 2 + 2 and smacking us with rulers. And in the summer the schools were closed. So that's, I think, one of the reasons you see so many nuns at these things. Just like me, they had nothing else to do during the summer. Might as well go to the fair.
This is the Order of the Hatless Nuns.
Yeah, I don't know who they were.
Hatless nuns. See how vivid the colors were?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
look at
I love this one.
Now he should be wearing those red shoes. He would look good in those red shoes with that outfit.
Oh,
his wife let him out of the house looking like that.
Yeah, the high socks, the plaid pants, the whole bit. And
well, the high
if your wife let you out of the house, I wouldn't be allowed to go outside looking like that.
No. And his face looks so much like the guy that lives 2 doors down from me. I have to say, no, Larry couldn't have been that old back then. So
Those nuns have no bad habits.
yeah. He's out enjoying himself. He looks a little big for that stroller to me, but I guess mom is taking him around. They've got their picnic basket and they're all set.
I was almost going to say that guy almost looked like Herb in his younger days.
Yeah. Herb. When I first saw this picture, and again, it's not one of mine, I had to go and look at this over and over and over, because I would have sworn that was me in '64 at first. The sort of glasses I had and everything else. And I would have been about that height and that age and the haircut and everything. I looked and I said, no, not me. Because if I was there, I would have been there with my brother or one of my friends or something. But sometime, I will catch a picture of somebody I know at the fair. And GE, if you were a GE dealer or one of their plants or something, they'd put your name up here. Nobody here visiting that day, but you can see
Look at that, an invalid security guard.
Yes, look how well the security guards are working here. They're protecting this wheelchair with their life. Ain't nobody gonna go and get that.
Man.
Now, if you notice that this stroller here has the push bar on it, these two do not. You can see if we zoom in the attachment points for it, because that was the whole idea, was that you would take the bar out of the stroller that would keep somebody from stealing the stroller while you were gone in the pavilion. So you carried these bars with you. if you came out and your stroller was gone, you could go to the nearest Hertz stand and say, I need another stroller, and they would give you another one. Because again, these were of value, you know, very little use to somebody without the stroller, without the push bar.
But who wants to carry a push bar around in a different show? They're not small.
No, they're not small at all. I mean, you know, I mean, you figure it, that's a big long bar. But and I do have a very few pictures of people that were you know, carrying them. But you know,
slip it in your back pocket.
yeah, I mean, you could leave your other stroller here. What's interesting, you know, when we had our kids, you know, we would take a very cheap, you know, what they call banana stroller down to Disneyland, because Disney were having a huge problem with people going into the park, and then they walk in and take out a $200, $300, $500 stroller and just walk out the main gate with it. And you know, the Disneyland people, you know, the security people weren't allowed to stop them. They would just say, "I'm putting this back in the car. It's too much trouble." And they were just stealing strollers. I mean, thousands of dollars worth of strollers out of Disneyland every week. So we just used really cheap ones. My daughter's stroller has everything in it that you can imagine: a GPS locator, a thing to tell you how warm the baby is, you know, all this stuff. So the technology has changed. Real nice day out here. The fountains are going now. Again, just to keep Irv happy, the tower is straight. I think it was Irv that asked why it was crooked, but the tower is straight. Over here we see the famous Jane Parker A&P baked goods sign that Robert Moses sued and spent a fortune trying to get them to turn the lights out at night, and the judge said, they were here first, why don't you turn out your lights? So
So is that sign still there today?
no, that factory's gone and the sign is gone. You can see other things, you know, occasionally you share some of these things and people say, oh, I lived in that building and I was a 8-minute walk to the fair. I went every single day, you know, that sort of thing. Because if you lived in the area, there were certain areas that you could find ways to hop over fences and get in, which I didn't know about until after the fair. And I was such a goody two shoes, I wouldn't have done it. Maybe, I don't know. So a bunch of the strollers down here, you can see people have taken all the bars off of them, and I think we can see the time up here. We have
You don't see anybody carrying a bar.
yeah, we have a 30-minute wait time, and again, for people waiting to go in to see General Electric. Now we've gotten inside. We're looking at all the peons who are still waiting to get in. And this is over at Ford. They had some concept cars that were showing you. I don't have one of these in my driveway yet. I don't know if anybody else does, but they're coming someday. Their whole thing here was that they would have all these monorail type beams around the city. So you'd be on these cars that were guided on these and going around.
Mine's right next to the Jetsons flying one.
Yes,
home.
that's right. Again, just nice days. This looks a little overcast. We don't have the same blue sky as some other days. See how close we are to LaGuardia. Now you can kind of date this that it's not the first month or two of the fair because IBM has added the lit up lights to it. Talked in other weeks how they realized that this pavilion at night was just a giant blob in the sky. So I've got scaffolds of them chopping out several of the IBMs and putting the blue lights that were lit up for it.
Look how much the population has changed. You have 192 million there, we're probably double that today.
Oh goodness, they were all on the road the other day. Mayan calendar over at Mexico. This is the wall at the Ireland Pavilion showing how people from Ireland, when they had the potato famine and everything else, emigrated out of Ireland and have you know, gone to areas here with this giant, you know, heavier Irish populations than others. Nice one here. We're up at the top of the Better Living Center and looking down. So we have Schaefer here, Pepsi right here, great shot over at Kodak. Over here is the Pan American Highway Garden, which became the go-kart track in '65. Over here, Arlington Hats, where you can go see a display about the invention of felt which all those hats with all the feathers were made out of felt. So I never really thought that somebody had to go invent it, but I guess it was some monk invented felt, and they had a whole this little museum in there. This past week, I had a guy ask that he had his brother was on a picture up on the Kodak Pavilion, and he had a picture of the these were done with strips of prints. They were not giant transparencies. So they had a picture, I think it was in Popular Mechanics magazine, of them putting up the strip, the picture that his brother was in, but it was black and white, and he wanted to know if anybody had a picture of the finished product. And I was able to get it and found out it was put up before the fair opened. So it went up in February of '64 so that people driving by could see it. And again, I was lucky at some construction shots because it was, what they say, famous fleeting. It was up there, and then by the time the fair opened, it was replaced by something newer. So it was not easy to find a shot for his brother, but he was very, very happy. I'm
Bill,
glad I can do that for folks. Yeah.
down in the right corner in front of that pavilion there, where the grassy areas, there's some kind of structure. I'm trying to figure out what the heck that is. It almost looks like a ramp, but it doesn't make sense where it is
Solar
there.
panel.
Oh, this?
Solar panel.
No, right there, this thing. Yeah, that thing.
It's
It is a
Wait,
ramp. It looks
wall. It's a wall.
It's a wall. Oh, it's a wall. It's just the perspective and the shadows.
It's
It made it look
fence.
like it was kind of a ramp coming up with two railings on either side of it. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see now it's a fence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see part of it over here and,
Yeah.
and part of it over here, but why it's
Plexiglass
there,
or something.
I
It
don't
looks
know.
like this part of it may pull across there to block that at some time.
Yeah,
this
you
other
can
one.
see this section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
just funny how you look at something and you're seeing it in a weird perspective and you're going like, what is that? And it's like, oh, it looks like some kind of ramp, but that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Same. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's made by the MC Escher Construction Company.
Yeah, there you go.
Good one, Wayne.
Now, again, another nice shot from the Better Living Center. Look at the line here for General Electric.
Wow.
I mean, I cannot imagine how long they were waiting. That's when they decided to then take over. This was supposed to be a pavilion which was never built. That's when they said, okay, why don't we start putting these people out here into the field? And then, hey, they're in the dirt. Let's pave it over. And then for 65, let's put all the colored panels over it to keep people off of the out of the sun. Chippewa was a late addition. Again, another pavilion that was supposed to be there. Robert Moses said, hey, I need to fill in some spot, and got Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians to perform out here. You can see on the maps, this shows on early maps as assembly area. And the whole idea was they were going to have bands and everything line up out here to do their marching. But then they put these temporary seats out here, and then your school could come and perform during the day while Guy was there performing at night.
So, Bill, when you go back to the full view of that, how many brass rails can you count in that picture?
Oh, goodness. Let's see. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6.
Yeah, I think it's 6. That's what I came up with.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing that how many of them were showing in there and how they showed up so nicely with their, being bright and white.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there were 14
Clean.
of them at the fair. I think that number comes to mind.
Bill, were the brass rails stronger than they actually look?
They're inflatable balloons. So there's a metal pole that comes up and some angular braces that came out. But there was small fans that just ran 24 hours a day that just kept them inflated. So I do have pictures of some of them that got punctured that are sagging. I do have the picture of the one that caught on fire and it all burned. But these are all just if you went up and punched it, it would, like punching a beach ball.
Can
Now
you look
here's
up inside it? Can you look up inside the thing?
No. It was just the whole thing was done with a fan. I mean, just keeping it inflated. There was just again a metal pole, some braces, and empty air. So here's the line again for GE. Look at this. So they've come back. They've gone in here and gone in here, and then they've come out here and they've gone down there. it was not uncommon to get 4 to 4.5 hour waits for GE. I mean, that's how popular the thing was. And that's why, again, pavilions like Texas failed. You know, you could see Broadway on Broadway, but you couldn't see the barking dog and Cousin Orville and all the rest of it. But that line is just insane.
We had to time it, either go there first thing in the day or late in the evening.
Yeah, or you do what some of us would do is like, I'll go and I'll wait on the line for 2 hours. You go see Ford, come back. I'll get off the line. I'll go do something else. But you know, you had to really have a lot of time. If you just stood there the whole time, then I can remember sometimes saying, I got to take a bathroom break, and you'd look for somebody that was around you, like, you know, the people that we saw with the you know, the shorts and the socks or something. I'm going to run to the bathroom, and then you come back and try to figure out how far they had gone and you know, moved up so you could get your space back in the line. But you know, 4 hours of waiting. Oof.
That's why the ladies were carrying the big bag, so they had like full on lunches.
Yeah.
Line.
Yeah, I mean, look at all these people. So it's all the way back here to the first aid stand, which is a very temporary plywood structure. Online, I have some great pictures because I got the photo album of one of the nurses that worked there. And so I've got all sorts of pictures inside of there, the atomic hospital and that sort of thing. But there's all the nurses sitting there, and they've got the red phone to the disaster center. And then another shot, they're all enjoying their Belgian waffles. So it's kind of neat to get her photo album.
Would
Bill,
you
can
actually
you
wait
go-
in a line that's
I'm
that
sorry.
long? Would you wait in
Yeah.
a line that's that long?
People did.
Well, I
Did
think
you
back
do it?
then,
I
the
wouldn't do
fact
it.
that the show was something like they had never seen before,
Yeah.
and it was a Walt Disney show, and of course Disneyland had huge popularity that people were saying it's that, and I'm sure word of mouth was that show is fantastic. You've got to see it when you go there. So
Yep.
people put up with it because they were going to see something they had never seen before.
Yeah.
You
And
got to
this
rush
may be-
over first thing in the morning when it opens. That was
Yeah,
the
this
trick.
may be their only day at the
Yep.
fair, though. You know, maybe they got in after the first thing, and now they're. It's like recent World's Fairs. You know, people have gone and tell you had to wait a long time at Shanghai and some others for it.
Bill, can you go very close to the Tower of Light
Yeah.
and then go to the left?
Are we looking for more mold?
Yeah,
tanks?
this building here, right to the left of the you see a little brown right there. Yeah, I believe that's Vault F, and Vault F was one of the several of the electrical buildings that are still there. So Vault F, we visited it with our group, and it's still there today.
Is that one,
Yeah, I think
that
when I
one that
walked
gave
by-
Mr. Lincoln such fits?
It might, yeah, it might have been. They just powered. They're in various parts of the park, and that's the one that. Yeah, that's the one that we
transformer
visited.
poles. Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, well, even when you go by them today, you can still hear them humming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then down here we have the Russian Orthodox Church. We're right next to the bell system, so it's a very small little pavilion out there. Down here, little guide booths. You can come out here, and Greyhound is out there giving information, and you could buy the really neat little Glider toys or the Escorter toys out there, which again, I didn't buy some of those things because, if I buy one of those, that's 3 more trips to the fair. I guess I'll not get one of the toys. In retrospect, I could buy one of those. I could sell it for a fortune today, but you go with what you know, right?
Hey,
We're
Bill,
up-
do you have a lot of souvenirs yourself beyond the media, beyond films and photos? Do you have like a flag from the World's Fair? I
Yeah,
mean, do you
mostly what I have are paper type stuff. I went
ephemera?
to the pavilion, and I got every brochure and everything you could possibly think of. If it was free, I took it. And I still to this day I have a box from Abraham and Strauss department stores where I got a shirt, I think for an Easter present or something. And I have that. The box is tatty. It's held together with very dried out masking tape. but I have all the World's Fair stuff I got as a kid in my Abraham and Strauss box. And the other stuff, and Carol knows, I have crates of this stuff all around, or stuff I've gotten at yard sales, flea markets, auctions, and all the rest of it. But I kept my box separate, you know, from basically my memories box. And there's some really cool stuff in there. You know, that again, why would somebody have saved a package of sugar from something? Well, it's free, you know. So, you know, it's again, I've just for whatever sentimental reasons kept that stuff apart from all my other stuff.
Oh, that's great. Thanks.
Okay, I ought to take the A&S box out and we can do an unboxing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll have to do
That would be great, Bill.
We're up at the top of the Better Living Center at the Hilton restaurant that was up there. And you can see the little menu cards out here. They show up a lot. I've got a couple of those in my collection. But, oh, wow, let's see. Free postcards. That's why they show up so much. The picture, this Hilton postcard shows up all the time. And it's kind of interesting that they have these little dividers up here for the trays, because you would go in, get your food, and you know, they carry it out, put it on the tray, and I guess didn't have to worry about knocking off or anything. But
Or it's a snake.
yeah, look, okay, let's see. There's a brass rail. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 brass rails.
I think there's 6 total in the
5
picture.
in that one.
Now there's one more off to the right, I think. Yeah, it is 6.
Yeah, I can't see the final one. I just see all
It's in front of the Ford building.
Oh, okay.
Or-
Yeah, I see that one over there. So that's that
Yeah.
one here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah, 6.
They must have made a killing at the fair.
I wonder what the Brass Rail Company did with them, or if they were just destroyed.
Oh, they were just, I'm sure at the end of the fair, they were just dirty vinyl of
Yeah.
no value whatsoever. I mean, again, by the end of the fair, they were in kind of poor shape. Very quiet day. The fountains aren't on at the Unisphere for some reason. Looking across the Philippines. Oh, that's why they're not on, because there's people out here working.
Yeah.
Okay, Herb, you get the first pocket full of quarters and I get the next one. You probably
Still
heard
looks
the
strange
story
to
about
go.
the-
It looks strange to go there today and see the Unisphere by itself. It's a
Yeah,
strange sight.
well, you probably heard the story about the kid that ran away and lived at the fair for several days. He hid
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
the Coca-Cola pavilion, and that's how he survived. He went out at night and he would take all the
Took
money
the
out of
money
the
out of the
fountain
fountain.
and go out the next day and buy hot dogs. No, knowing that kid, he probably ate at the Treehouse restaurant. Think of all the quarters he got.
Yeah.
So
Hey, there's people to do that today. They take money out of fountains.
yeah. So this one I had a little fun with Photoshop. So we have the people out here enjoying the fair. You know, you can see the grass is getting worn by people coming out here to sit here. But then, hey, they're gone. So I posted a picture like that online, you know, like before and after. And somebody said, "How did you do that?" I said, "I used the Jimmy Hoffa filter and it sends them to the Meadowlands." And they go, "Oh, where do you download that?"
Ah, 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 ah.
Yeah, you can kind of see the repetition in the water pattern
Yes,
there from
yeah.
using
Yeah.
the tool. But that you did a good job though. That was especially when you changed pictures. I didn't, you couldn't tell you changed pictures. It's like, where'd those ladies go?
Well, I even went to the trouble of like taking the shadow out of her purse, you know, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and then you had to go in and get just the angle of the wall. So yeah, I had
Yeah,
fun with it.
that gets a little tricky and
Yeah.
The latest features in Photoshop are crazy with the new AI stuff. You
Oh, yeah.
truly cannot tell, like because I do it for work and it's just is amazing.
You know, it's funny. I was playing for the first time 2 days ago with Google Gemini, and I took a picture that my parents had taken that was terribly badly exposed, very blue, very dark, and I knew what I had been able to do to fix it. I put it in there. I'm amazed what it did. Absolutely astonishing.
Crazy. It really is crazy.
So I decided to have it restore a film 8mm 3 inch reel. Put it in there. Okay, this is complex, and we're going to adjust this and brightness here, this and everything. We'll be ready tomorrow. So yesterday, where is it? I went through 45 minutes with the bot. Well, I don't know why that link's not working. Try this one. Finally, I said, you're right. No matter what I try to do, it won't get to you. So I'm turning this over to some human to try to figure it out because I sure can't. So I'm still waiting for the link to get back to that video to see what it can do.
Huh.
I purposely sent it a really bad video. I think the poor bot is still banging his head on the wall. Outside of Coca-Cola, and contrary to some people thinking, he did not get free Coke, but it was only 10 cents for a glass. And now we're off to GM. Somehow my house doesn't look like this today. Up to the Kodak moonroof.
I like the post-right part of GM, and you don't see many pictures of that except the futuristic cars, but they had some good technical stuff. They had a spark chamber that was like 8 feet tall or something that showed cosmic rays causing the sparks.
Yeah, I forgot a few things from that area, but again, being interior shots, people didn't have the lighting to, unless you were a professional guy coming in, didn't really, have the ability to take it. So all the people going online for Small World. Now this is the sort of thing when they were doing the movie Tomorrowland, that's how I was able to start figuring out that it was Disney that was doing it. Because again, I was working with the Unknown production company, and they were like, what did the costumes look like for the tour guides for Small World? And then did they wear their pins? You can see she's wearing a pin on her chest here up on the left side. Were the pins on the left side or the right side? They had so many questions about stuff. I was able to figure out pretty easily who it was. Particularly, as I mentioned, they were using a Disney phone number. But so let's see, that's the last one in that one.
But is she pointing with 2 fingers?
Well, let's go look before I go away.
I think it's her whole hand.
No, it's her whole hand. I find myself directing traffic, and I'm doing it with 2 fingers. So okay, for 1965, things have changed. We have put all these colored panels out here to keep people out of the sun, and it worked out really well. Disney convinced GE to put these in, and the first thing was, well, it's going to be a whole bunch of money and everything. Well, one of the things they did was they put TV sets in here that constantly played commercials for GE products. So if you were in here and you were in here for an hour now going back and forth, think how many commercials you just saw for GE products. That was pretty smart. They also had fans in here. I don't believe they had misters, but they had fans in there to keep it down. You also notice we had seen the first aid stand, but that said, oh, all these people coming over this way. We have this bare plot of land. So why don't we throw in a snack bar? So, that, again, smart thinking of somebody, but look how crowded every single one of these things is full. I mean, that's a lot of people waiting to go in there. And
It's even more people than the line you saw before. They're just compacted more.
yeah, there's Joey's vault building.
Oh yeah.
Better Living Center. Kind of smoggy, yucky day. Whoops. Again, they threw up in 65 all sorts of little snack bars. So here we can see in this particular one, what's the menu for today? French fries, snacks, ice cream, cold drink, beer, frankfurters, hamburgers, sandwiches. And this is the official World's Fair Souvenir Center. And this is one of the brass rails over here. They had all these round signs on it. And then you can see the seating area that you get to go at. So over here, it's the free show theater. I don't know what they were showing over there. This was not be free. This is the puppet show. Hans Conright and some of the others. China. Hey, Mickey. After Mickey got beat up and they tried to throw him into the fountain, there was edict went out that Mickey would only show up in the upper levels and not interact with the crowds anymore.
Why would they throw him in the fountain?
They try to pick him up and chuck him over the railing. Bunch of kids. And Pinkerton
That's
had to
pretty
come and
funny.
save him. And it's really fortunate that they stopped it, because the guy that was inside the costume could have well drowned in there. I mean, if he'd landed on his back in that water trying to get up with that head and everything, it could have been a really, really bad situation. When the fair ended, these animals were taken off in large part. Excuse me, it's mail call. Right there. Carol making a mad dash, I'm sure.
What's that below there, the sign, United States Committee for
UNICEF.
UNICEF. Hang on, I'll be right back.
UNICEF? Okay, that's right. I forgot they were, yeah, part of that. Okay.
Yeah, the whole
You have to
thing.
get
The whole thing with Small World was the admission price was all donated to UNICEF to raise some money. So down
Yeah.
below, we had a UNICEF stand here. I've got pictures of it otherwise. You could buy dolls from around the world in Small World type costumes. And then they also had free brochures and everything that would be in my A&S box on what UNICEF did and how you could then put together a UNICEF collection thing. They had a big thing asking kids for Halloween to go around trick or treat for UNICEF, and they gave you this plastic or cardboard container, and you'd go around and ask for that instead of candy. Everybody I knew went for the candy.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was United States Committee for Un-American Activities or something, but I forgot UNICEF was involved.
Yeah.
But I'm going, what?
When the fair ended and the Tower of the Four Winds was taken apart, a lot of these animals were taken and mounted on wooden bases and given to the VIPs that had worked both at the fair, at WED, and at the studio to put it all together. So I knew one person that had one. Unfortunately, he died, and his collection went to the Four Winds.
I never knew about those animals. Nice.
Yeah, down below here, this is saying, say Pepsi, please, which was their slogan for the time. And again, you didn't get free Pepsi. You can see the snack bar here. They're selling sandwiches, and then selling your sodas here. Lowenbrow during '65 would take their horse-drawn wagon throughout the transportation area. They're going by the Travel and Transportation Building. And again, mentioned in prior talks, the Pied Piper effect. People would follow it back to Lowenbrow and then go have a beer. Then you could pose for these with the horses. After the fair, a guy from Connecticut bought the horses as a gift to his wife, which evidently the news story said the wife was not pleased.
Ah,
And again, you can see why IBM added in the lights. So let's see, set 5. Okay, we're going to spend a bunch of time at the space park and look at some of the religious pavilions. So this up here is a mock-up of the Gemini capsule, had not flown yet. Down here, the Saturn V boat tail, full-size replica of the lowest stage of the Saturn V. And they had in the background the Hall of Science is still being built here. So they had all sorts of different mock-ups. Again, down below the Apollo capsule, the command module, the service module, and over here the lunar module. Off to the US. Billy Graham. I always wondered what became of all these metal discs. Some, cut them up, recycled, reused, I don't know. Vatican.
Fifth minute.
And then we're inside Joey's Playhouse, the U.S. Pavilion, the Challenge to Greatness. That was the great three, moving bandstand ride and everything you went through.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
The tree that the surviving tree survived up to demolition,
Yes.
and it you knew it was a tree from New York City because it survived on cigarette butts, and stuff we can't even mention. But
Urine.
it
Chewing
survived.
gum.
Yeah, it survived up to that time. It was still alive, and it was open to the air, so it got rain.
Yeah. Now this one, again, you can see times have changed because now they've put these little chains around to try to keep people off the grass. Oh, this is, again, I have a whole thing on my site about how this sign changed over the years. When it first started, it had Norman K. Winston, or I think it's K, in giant letters here. And then somebody said, oh, that's a little too self-promoting, so they put it over here. Well, they put these lights here, and again, the light up. People just, kept coming up to the picture, and they would trip over the lights, banging on the lights, and they were always pointing straight up instead of at the eagle. So after a while, they put a little railing around it. They then people had stepped over the railing, broke the sign, so they would station a Boy Scout on either side of it to tell people don't do that. After the fair ended, this was there, and all of a sudden one day it just disappeared. And somebody claimed their uncle had it in the basement in the Bronx. But you can see, sadly, on the post-fair pictures, just the outline of the eagle and the mounting brackets. And again, oh, where'd she go? Inside.
Was that brass or bronze?
She went to the Meadowlands.
Yeah, no, was the figure a brass or bronze? Do you
Oh,
know?
brass. Yeah, it was. I think it was. I don't know if it was brass or bronze. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it was worth money, so I hope it hasn't been melted down. I thought you asked, is their ass gone? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
And we're probably inside the Vatican here. But and there's the Mormon. I kept joking that they have one hell of a TV antenna. We're up on the mezzanine, New York State, looking down.
now that's a bright yellow.
Yes, yeah, it all depends on the time of day and the lights and everything. You can see from the shadows we're getting into late in the day.
Well, like someone else was saying, the over time, yellow is a paint that fades
Yes.
pretty easily in the sun,
So the
more
Vatican,
noticeably.
Vatican in front, still building, Belgian in the back. Looks like the word has gotten out. High heels are bad. Flats are in. Too bad all these didn't get filled up with pavilions like they had originally intended. It would have been a lot more to see, but it was a lot better for photography that they did not. We're over at Oklahoma. Inside the Vatican. I don't know the name of this sculpture. All right, let's get another set here. Yeah, again, keep in mind, these are pictures I first started restoring 25, 30 years ago, not realizing, oh, Bill, you're going down one hell of a slippery slope. So like this is set number 5, I think. I'm up today. I think last week I did set number 1397. No joke. It's thank God Carol's very patient with me. Over to Lowenbrow. Very popular pavilion with a lot of people. Oh gosh, look at that lunch. Oh boy.
Sauerkraut
That's a
Sauerkraut,
lot. Yeah.
bratwurst,
Yeah.
yeah.
and bratwurst. Yeah.
It's a big portion.
Yeah. You know, and then the fact that these gals could carry this stuff. I mean, I've got the pictures of them with 5 beer mugs in each hand. How the hell they did it, I don't know. Again, 64 here because in 65 they built a gazebo up over the bandstand. This one I always got a kick of the ladies just sitting there going, wow, what a day this has been. I just got to rest a bit. And if we look at the clock here, just coming up at noontime, and look how many people are just pouring in here.
Yeah.
This is probably late in the season. You know, word is getting out that this thing is going to be shutting down pretty soon. Because again, the trees seem in bloom, but it's cold, people wearing coats and everything. But look how many people have just gotten off the train and are coming on in.
If you go down low to that woman in the middle of the three, she's got her mink on.
Yes, got a mink stole. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
popular in those days.
It
Well, I
was.
bet you for many of those people, that was their first time at the fair.
Yeah.
And the same restrooms are still in use today.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd use them though.
Oh, I have. It's you can't really say what.
Yeah. All right, so we're taking the Swiss Skyway across the fairgrounds.
Here.
And it's a gray and gloomy day. Hopefully it won't rain and we all have to go home early.
The Manhattan skyline.
Yeah. There's the arches that the mold-cast lights would have been shining up and lighting. Mexico down below. I like this one. It just always got a nice shot of, you know, the Von Roll in motion. Nighttime, the fountains going, getting ready for fireworks. We're on the moving bandstand, grandstand at the IBM. Kodak was good because they themed their pictures to match the time of year. So in the beginning of the fair, you had lots of pictures of robins and budding flowers and all that. And then you got into fall foliage and pumpkin patches and apple cider and things like that. Belgian Village. This is the so-called crash gate that they could bring people like the Pope in and get him in out of there very quickly. And this is why they kept building it, because they were able to get it open, and it charged an admission, so a whole bunch of people came in. And then the cafes, restaurants, all that sort of thing did a pretty good business, because again, you asked if I ate all the other foods. Again, I generally could not. But if you came over here, you could get foods from different countries around the world. Although they served a lot of things like fried chicken and stuff too.
Hey, Bill, would you go back one slide, please?
Yeah. This one?
Yeah, hang on. Let me zoom out. Okay, that's a we've seen lots of pictures of the crash gate, over the last couple of years that you've shown, but I've never seen a picture from this perspective. For some reason, I've always pictured it as being on a long, barren road. I didn't know it was this close to a bridge or the walkway. It seemed like that it was a long path down one side and a long path down the other side. It just appeared that way in the other photographs, but based on this one, I didn't know it was this close to to a bridge like this. So it's just a different perspective. That amazes me.
Yeah, other shots may have been taken further down the walkway here, and just, the perspective been different.
So Bill, when if they brought the Pope in through there, that's actually the Belgian village, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they brought him through there to get him into the next building, which was
Yeah.
the Vatican. Okay.
Right, they could just drive him right through and come out the other side.
Made it, Bill.
Oh, and by the way, if you go to the area today, the flagpoles are gone, but you can look down on the ground and see where the concrete bolts, the bolts went into the concrete to show you where they were. You can very easily see the whole line of flagpoles. Again, I wish they had left them in and put the flags there for the just the colors and everything. But they sold them off, and you could get a World's Fair flagpole and put in your backyard. And again, this carousel was a restored carousel. After this fair ended, it went up to Montreal. It's called the Galloper because unlike a lot of other carousels, all the horses, they didn't have static horses, they moved. And it's up in Montreal at the La Ronde amusement area. So if you're in Montreal, you can go for a ride. It's probably more than a quarter now, but you can go for a ride on a World's Fair Legacy. Then they had musicians playing. I don't know if we can make out what the Belgian snack bars. No, let's see. I can't quite make it out. I can see hamburger and cheeseburger. I can't quite see what the top ones are. And to show how things have changed.
The one above hamburger said Frankfurter.
Yeah, but cigarette machine. When was the last time anybody saw a cigarette machine around, right?
I
Again,
understand they use molds to mold all the stonework and the brickwork, and they reuse the molds for different fairs too.
Yeah, it was the same molds that were used at the 33 fair and Expo 58. But remember these machines? You'd put the thing in, you'd pull it out.
Yeah.
My mother would say, Bill, go get me a pack of cigarettes. And I hated my mother smoking. And I'd come back. Sometimes I was a real bastard. Sorry, Mom, it jammed. I kept a quarter. What the hell? The hats for the performers out here. The Gillies dancers.
That must have been about the largest pavilion in the fair.
Square footage wise, it was pretty good size. I think General Motors was the largest square footage, I think, of all, because it had the big building and it also had the display areas around it. But I'm looking at the map.
Look at the acreage of the site.
Yeah, could have given it
a couple acres.
And NCR, again, this was a really unique design, which they made a big thing out of it, which was really not all that unique because it used the same design as the transportation pavilion from the 33 Chicago Fair. They had these 3 pillars, 1, 2, 3, and they had steel cables holding up the roof. So that meant down below, you didn't have any big beams or holding anything up. You had tremendous open display. And they made a big, big thing about this. Well, it's exactly how the transportation pavilion in 33 Chicago had been done. Pillars, cables, suspended roof. But I guess NCR had a pretty good press agent and they put it out there and they got a lot of press.
First fair I can recall where they didn't use the giant cash register. They did that for years at fairs.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's a shame. I always loved those giant cash registers and the the other ones.
They have one in Dallas.
They always reminded me of Batman comics where the villains would be jumping on the giant keys of a giant typewriter and the keys actually worked, and when Batman and Robin are jumping out of their way. So we're over at the General Motors concept car. It would rotate from left to right. And again, don't have one of those in my driveway.
That's
Up here
right now.
What's that?
Model. Can you see a model?
Sorry, you're breaking up a little. Oh yeah, with that car looks familiar. great.
Yeah.
Now, this one up on the New York State Pavilion is great because it caught one of the phones up here that you would put a quarter in, and the narrator would say, as you look from left to right, you'll see off in the distance the towers of New York City, and down below the Travel and Transportation Pavilion. And then you'd go to the next phone, and that would have a totally different one telling you what you would see out that particular side.
What they
this
should have
guy
done is just put the same thing in each one. If you look straight ahead, you'll see a brass rail restaurant.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Bill,
Yeah.
this lady looks like your mother.
Yeah, she would a little bit, yeah. Yeah, a little. This guy was after my own heart. Let's go look at him. I mean, he has got his tripod. He's got looks like a giant microphone or something here.
Huge.
Yeah, he's got his camera up here. I mean, he's going all out. But this looks like another camera bag. So this is a great family. You know, I mean, think how many pictures. And obviously, I got one of their pictures. You know, of them. So that. But yeah, got to go to the fair and wear your pearls.
That's probably a carrying case for the tripod.
I was
This
gonna
is-
say, yeah, yeah.
Could be, yeah, yeah. And but yeah, your pearl earrings and you know all the rest of it. Now, in this particular one, he was probably taking the picture, and now she has gone off and taken his picture here. The thing that also look how low the railing is. You know, in fact, today you'd have to put it up to here to keep people from throwing things off it or jumping off it. But when you go and see pictures of the Space Needle in Seattle in '62, the railing's here. Now it's, you know, up here, so things have changed.
You talk about safety issues. These days, most places won't even allow tripods.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, talking about yellow paint fading, again, we're in '64, right? Look how the paint on this thing is already going. I mean, every time I see this, they must have used the lowest bidder, the cheapest paint you could possibly get, because within months, literally months, 2-3 months of the fair opening, this yellow rail was just going to pieces.
Huh.
I mean, you can see more of it here. I mean, but we're further along, so it's somewhere later in '64 because the Belgian Village is open. I like this shot here too. You can see they had little walkways that they could come out here and raise or lower. They had flags at each of the counties of New York State were on these. But I don't know if I would like the job of stepping from here onto here to go do the flags. I think not. So, but it caught really well the little walkways that are up there.
I'm wondering if they use that powder coat paint that they use in steel,
Yeah,
because it seems like it would work great. And then, like you said, we're
Act 4, the Carousel of Progress. We have all the happy holiday cards and, you know, the latest media appliances. Now she looks more like Queen Elizabeth there.
She does. And he actually looks less frumpy.
Yes. He's probably saying, you drop my camera, I'm going to kill you. Or over at Chungking, again, 99 cents, a full dinner. They had this same rickshaw was used at the '62 World's Fair in Seattle. And then it became very popular, and they ended up putting one of them out at Freedom Lands. So you can get your picture taken in a rickshaw. Out here, again, all the Chinese meals you could go to the market, Mom could bring home. And I remember Mom bringing them home. You had 2 cans that were held together with a piece of tape, and you had all the gooey stuff in the one can, and all the dry noodles in the other can, and you would peel them apart, hook one, pour out the other, put the gooey stuff on top of the noodles, and you had Chinese food.
Sort
It
of.
was
Tommy.
all, it was all canned foods too.
my dad loved that.
Oh, we as kids loved it. We thought it was great stuff, you know.
They still make Chungking. They still make it.
I don't know. I don't know if somebody can go and find out if Chungking is still around.
I was gonna say, I think I've seen some Chungking products, but it's more like the seasonings or sauces
Yeah.
more than the dinners. I don't know if they make the dinners anymore.
if
So
you're a
interesting
fan of
fact. Did you know Chongqing is the largest city in the world in
Chungking,
China? Yeah,
no,
That's
Yep.
a city.
I do
Yeah.
know that Chungking hired Stan Freberg to do some really funny Chungking commercials.
Oh
If you
yeah.
go on YouTube and look for those, they are really, really good.
Yep.
Yeah,
The pie-
we love the products too. And then when I got older and started reading sodium content, said,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
my God, why didn't I die?
Yeah. Yeah, here's your
True,
can of
true.
72% sodium.
Yep.
Yes, and my sister and I used to just open the can of the dry noodles and eat those. We hated
Yeah.
that slop, the chow mein sauce that they put on it. But yeah, my dad loved them.
Yeah, as 12-year-old kids, we loved it. I think my mom enjoyed it. You know, I mean, it was a lot easier for her.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of probably the first ethnic food that was really well accepted in the United States, right? Would be probably because of Chongqing.
Well, that was, and also again, we talked in other talks about Mastro's Pizza. They are. If you go to pizza, there are literally magazines about the history of pizza and the latest developments in the pizza industry and stuff. And Mastro's Pizza is credited with really making it a mass consumed item, because it used to be that people made small pizzas and small ovens and their own restaurant. Mastro invented these large ovens that could turn out pizzas much faster. They were
Oh, right.
and
Yeah.
much larger, so you could build, do large pizzas, not just, individual size. And that's why he put his pavilion at the fair, was not to make money selling pizza at the fair, but to get people to buy his ovens. And it worked
Right.
out. And there's still places today that are very proud that in these pizza magazines, because people send me copies of. We have a Mastro whatever, I don't remember the model numbers. The Mastro 100 still proudly cooking today.
Cool. I know there's some story about Totino's in Minneapolis. Was that maybe the first frozen pizza?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure. Yeah, something like that.
Now we're going to go and jump all the way to November 4th, 1987. And this was a really seminal day in Bill Cotter's World's Fair mania. I had gone to the fair, obviously, a lot as a kid. I had been back once or twice in my college days to drop people off near the fairgrounds. But in this particular day, I was in New York for a meeting, and they said, meeting's called off. We'll see everybody for dinner tonight, but have a free day. Well, I was there in Manhattan, and I said, it's a nice day. I got my camera. Maybe I'll go visit the World's Fair site. So I got on the number 7 train, came out, walked through the gate, and man, did it hit me. Oh, wow, the World's Fair. Again, this is 1987. So I took these pictures, and then I came back and started putting ads in newspapers. Hey, do you have pictures of the World's Fair you'd like to sell or get rid of? Or do you have World's Fair stuff you'd like to get rid of? And it went crazy. But yeah, there's the bathrooms Joey mentioned. So this is the Passerelle entrance. The sawtooth booths here were over the ticket booths. And then down below here, you come into the entrance. So it's changed since 87, not necessarily for the better, but you can see here what got me going. So it was a really nice day. It was getting cool, but there was next to nobody around. It was kind of eerie to go back and think that 20 years ago, this was the biggest, craziest spot on the planet Earth, and now, wow, nothing. It was really I had a great time. I barely made it back for the dinner I had to go to that night. And let's see, we are doing phase 1 pavement removal. When the fair closed, again, like in 39 when it closed, they didn't have the money to rip out all the roads, which is why they used the same footprint for 64. And now here it is 20 years later, they're taking out a lot of the asphalt and concrete to try to make it more of a green area. So if we look at the sign here, maybe we'll see some familiar names. I figured this is great. This is 1987. Knowing the city, this project is only 3 months away from completion. But Edward Koch is the mayor, and Henry Stern is the park commissioner. and Bromowitz, the park administrator. There's a bunch of names you get to know over time. Claire Schulman is a big one for the borough president. She did a lot for the post-fair fairgrounds. Elevators stranded up part of the way up to the tower. That's where Charles Abard pulled the plug and left it so the vandals couldn't get to it. Fountains are off. And being New York, we go and take this great sign and we graffiti the crap out of it. Hard sign, by the way, to take a picture of, because when the graffiti is not on it and the thing's shiny, unless you go out there on a rainy day, these signs really reflect the any amount of sunlight or anything, so that they really get glary.
By the way, Bill, Chung
Yeah.
King went out of business in 1995, but it was sold. They started as their own company. They were sold to RJ Reynolds, which was part of owned Nabisco. Nabisco eventually sold to Hunt Foods, and then in 1995 they shut down the whole thing.
Ah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Why did they remove all the original streetlights just to replace them with other streetlights?
Because they wanted something that was, this matched the streetlights in all the other New York City parks. So they didn't want the big colored lights and everything to be a distraction. They wanted to go with the same standard that, so you could find this in Central Park or Prospect Park or others.
Probably
They
for
must have picked
maintaining
up
them too.
Yeah.
I like them
Cindy
better
must
than
have
the
used up
originals.
all the sodium.
Did they remove a lot of these walkways?
Yep. They took a bunch out. In the
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
is,
This is all completely changed.
yeah, this is where they put the spray pool and stuff in. And in
Yeah.
the back here, this white building is in the middle of the Fountain of the Planets, the Pool of Industry. And for a while, when the fair opened, when the park first opened, it still had a ring of jets that came and poured water out, but that's been gone forever. But yeah, all this is totally gone now.
What's in its place?
There's basically what would you call it, Joey? Not a.
Yeah, it's
jumping-
a misting walkway.
Yeah.
And there's also a section for people that want to skateboard as
Right.
well.
So Bill having fun with his telephoto lens.
That'd
Came
be
out pretty
looking
nice.
toward the Bell Pavilion.
Yeah. Now Henry Stern had this giant thing everywhere in New York that he could possibly do it to show his parks and recreation. He put a giant maple leaf flag up there. I don't know what, maybe he's part Canadian or something, but
You're gonna say, is he Canadian?
yeah, the whole building's falling apart. Let's put the money in here to go and put a giant flag up on it.
I've got my
And just getting some contour shots.
I'm wearing my Canadian shirt today.
Oh yeah, look at that. Over to the heliport. You can see at this point they still had the roof panels up there, and in this one you can see how it was multiple levels of plastic that made these things up. So part of the bottom part has come off, and the top part. The concrete bases are still on all the towers, which had to be taken down as chunks of concrete came. So during the fair, this was nice and looks great. Today you can see all the plumbing and wires and everything there. The roof had been taken down here in the tent of tomorrow because it was falling down. And that's where the morons just went up and dropped all the panels down to the ground and let it hit and break the terrazzo tile map down below. And
They had the cheapest bid for demolition.
Yes, absolutely. I went to school in Potsdam, New York, and I went to, at that time, Clarkson College of Technology. It's now called Clarkson University, but I had to go and get a picture of this. And it was really funny because I know right where Colton is. I'd have to drive through Hannibal Falls. And then we would have road rallies, and they would give you directions, and you'd end up going to places you would like West Potsdam. Potsdam is a very small town, West Potsdam is about the size of a 7-Eleven. I mean, it's you know how it made it on the map. Flab City is slightly smaller than West Potsdam. I mean, so for all these towns up here, you know, they are really, really small. As a matter of fact, and all the time I went to college, I never heard of Prairie Mills. I had to go and look that one up. But I was very, very impressed that my college, you know, you can see the mortar hat with a little tassel that the college made it on there. And the tower was obviously open because I walked in there just to take, oh, Sanfordville, just a real quick aside. People ask me if I enjoyed college and it great and everything, but I had a professor, Sanford, he lived in Sanfordville, and he would spend most of the class talking about what the Sanfordville Volunteer Fire Department did. And his book was next to impossible to understand. And his class, he taught from his own book. So if you would say, I don't understand, you know, chapter 7, he goes, what's right there in the book? Just go and do it. And he'd be in class, and he was doing a class in active circuits, so it was not an easy class. And he'd go through something, and we say, I don't get it. He goes, well, read the book, you'll get it. And meanwhile, this barn burned down, and we went out there, and we, you know, I mean, so I finally went to an upperclassman and said, look, you got through active circuits. He goes, oh, with Sanford? I said, yeah, you know, I just can't figure this out. And he goes, nobody could figure it out, but I'm going to tell you how to get out of Sanford, how to do this. Because Sanford was so lazy, he would just give you a take-home book, a take-home exam, and bring it in graded. He wouldn't even do it in class. So a guy said, here, and he gave me the answer key from the teacher's edition of the textbook. He says, just don't get make sure you get 1 or 2 wrong every now and then. So I said, okay. So when I finished, I got out, and I proudly passed it down to somebody in the next class. Thank God I went to work in computer coding, because if I had to do an active circuit, I'd die. But the pavilion was wide open. You could walk in. The gate was open. You could go in and have a heart's content. This showed how so many sections of it had been destroyed by the stuff falling down, replaced with sections of just bare concrete. The numbers here are the elevations for that particular area. So
Did you ever come across a photo of them jacking up that ring girder during construction?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you ever come across a photo of them jacking up that ring girder during the construction phase?
Oh yeah, I have a whole section. If you buy my book, I have a whole thing about their jacking up the roof and everything up there.
Yeah.
And Irv, if you go there today, you can still see where the jacks were.
Yeah.
They're behind the bushes.
This one I had to get. Scott
Oh.
will appreciate this. Livingston Manor is where my Boy Scout camp is. There is actually the airplane here for Livingston Manor Airport, which has been gone for about 50 years now. But our camp would be right about here. And we would hike over here to Lou Beach, which is a small town where Irving Berlin lived. And it's a very exclusive area now. A whole bunch of multi-million zillionaires live up there and fly in and out with their helicopters. But we would hike over to Frick Pond or Hodge Pond, hike over to Balsam. And we'll be back up there in September for our Boy Scout reunion. So this area, again, if you ever up in the Catskills, it's absolutely a great area. But again, Livingston Manor, do not plan on flying into the airport. And then this one I got a kick out of. I lived in Baldwin, which made it on the map. Down here, this is the end of Rockville Center in Freeport. In '64, Baldwin was not on the map, and our town launched a letter writing campaign to get Baldwin put on the map. And I remember my brothers and I going up and down, door to door, and people like, why do you care? Because it's Baldwin, we have to put it on the map. And to their credit, Texaco came and added not just Baldwin, they put about 50 different towns on the 65 map that were not on the 64 map. But I was very impressed that they took the time and effort to chisel it out, lay the word Baldwin in, and it was always a big thing to stand on your town. So again, it was I thought it was kind of neat that Baldwin made it. This down here is the toll gate to go to Jones Beach out there. East Meadow. This up here was which is the name, Mitchell Field Air Force Base. So again, this is all gone now. What pieces are left are covered under gravel. Oh, do I dare go upstairs? Yeah, why not? So again, this is looking down over here. They had some information stands and that during the fair. You can see somebody had been doing something and it's all red. I don't know what's going on here, but you can get some nice views of different parts of Long Island and that down here. And stretching all the way out as we go all the way across New York State. There's Albany, and Potsdam would be up here. They had painted during the fair, again, the walls were white and they had red and white panels in front of them. But you can see the entrances to all the places they had closed off, like the 62 county restaurant, the Art in New York State exhibits, and that skating area. And it was so weird. It was kind of windy and the wind was just whistling through all these cables. Poor elevator sitting there. Even here you can see one of the windows is gone already. There's the VIP level. Hey, and there's a lamp Joey's gonna go get.
Let's.
Now,
Yeah, they
when
were.
was-
Mhm.
When was the movie The Wiz? Does anybody remember what year that was?
1979.
79. So these would have been ones that were put in here for The Wiz. And we go over to Terrace in the Park. Again, the heliport's gone, an additional restaurant up top. Former information booths down here. Escalator in sad shape. How I would have loved to have gotten up to the towers. But that door was welded shut. Oh, this is really great. No heavy loads permitted on terrazzo floor. Okay. Was going to protect it, right? I've got other shots of trucks parked on it. This is the Astral Fountain. You can see the circle here where it once revolved around. The center jets that would come up and go way out of picture range. And this is now all taken out. I think, Joey, don't you have one of the jets from it?
No, I never got one of the jets
Oh.
from it. I know, Johnny has
Johnny has it. Okay.
a few sections of it. Yeah.
Skateboard park now.
Yeah.
Bench where the Vatican Pavilion was. Jim Brown did a good talk one day in the Vatican Pavilion and showed where this is compared to, where the building was. There's a group that goes out there that's convinced the Blessed Virgin comes out and they hold all sorts of services and stuff out there. That's a full view of it. And contrary to belief, it's not exactly where the Pieta stood.
So Bill, I bought this cast album of The Wiz
Oh, The Wiz,
yesterday,
yeah.
and it was done in 1975. So I'm
but-
guessing it's the Broadway.
Yeah, that's the Broadway version.
Yeah.
Better than the movie.
Good. This is recorded in New York City.
Yep. So we're on the bridge over to the Lake Amusement area. You can see they had painted the whole tent up here white at that point in time.
And the yellow that you see there on the road, that's all that's left from the yellow brick road that they used in the film.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah.
They repaint it over and over, but there's many layers of it.
And now we're looking down towards the amphitheater. Some of the stonework on it, and you can see it's the New York State Amphitheater World's Fair 39. This is where you watch them call away the time capsule, right, Joey?
Yeah, they right. Yeah, they took it right out of the cornerstone there. Yeah.
Right.
Is there is there something that prevents something that's preventing the New York Pavilion from being totally demolished? You know, like historical societies, lack of funding to remove it.
Lack of funding. I can stop you right there. It's lack of funding. They did have it marked as a memorial or monument or whatever, but that wouldn't stop it. It's one of those things. It's cheaper to preserve it than it is to tear it down. So that's the only reason it's still standing.
Okay.
This whole Aquacade again, Joey has pictures of it being demolished. I have others too.
What?
I got a kick out of this one. Paddle boat out there, abandoned on the shore of the Meadow Lake. I wasn't tempted to quite go on and take a ride on it. I don't know if it still worked or not, but looks kind of sad and desolate out there. You can see from when it was a public pool, the high dive board in here. Not many people around with a bunch of geese. In
Time
the
capsule.
Yeah, if you go here to the time capsule, during the fair, this was the edge of the ring. You can see it's underneath here where she's sitting, the concrete. This was the edge of the ring for the reflecting pool that went around the capsule. So when they put this out here, they cut a whole opening in here on either side so you can walk in and out. But then they put benches on top of the wall here because the wall itself would have been too low. And let's see, is it time to open it yet? Not quite. Walking by, you can see pieces of the roof here are falling off. They found out that this guy had a really great deal going. He was running the banquet hall for years and years, and he was still tapped into the power lines for the fairground and wasn't paying any electric bill. So yeah, it was going on for 20, 30 years, and then they try to hit him with the 30 years worth of electric, and I don't know what they ever settled, but you can imagine this guy just ka-ching every month.
Is that picture, is that concrete breaking off the underside? Is that all concrete form?
This wasn't concrete, this was masonite or something down here.
No.
It's been fixed since then. And we're over near, if I remember right, this is near the Underground World Home. So forms in transit, pieces of it have already come off. It's been moved around. Rockets on the launch pad are mostly fuel. So again, these rockets were here. They will be restored during the next several years. It took quite a while. Here's the underneath the Saturn V boat tail stage. You can see all sorts of pieces have just come off. And now we go to the panorama. As the city changes, so does the panorama. I think I had some pictures of that itself. Maybe not on this roll, or they didn't come out. Oh, this one, I was, this is the press building for the World's Fair. And it was converted into a New York City police precinct. So I was standing here taking pictures of it, just for a then and now shot. And a patrol car pulled up, and they were very, very interested in why I was taking pictures of their police station. And I tried to explain I was a World's Fair nut, and they didn't quite understand that. And at this point in time, I had already become an LAPD volunteer, so I was able to show them my LAPD ID card, and they decided to let me go. But they were very suspicious of why a guy with a telephoto lens was taking pictures of everybody going in and out of the station.
Yep.
This is sadly gone now, but this is where Albert Fisher worked during his year at the fair. And we have to leave. We have to head back to the number 7. Say goodbye to the fair, but I will be back, and I was. Down below, this is the Long Island Railroad Station, which I've made many trips into the fair on the Long Island Railroad. And they were still using some of the platforms because of service for Shea Stadium, but they had abandoned a number of them because they didn't need them. They didn't want to send anywhere a number of trains in. If you go way in the back here, in this area, you can see these tracks go out and everything. For a long time, the Long Island Railroad was storing old cars out here. And this was the line that had been put in temporarily for the 1939 fair that then Robert Moses said, no, you've got to take it out because I don't want it, people going, he wanted to again put in parkways and all the rest of it. But again, you look at it and you go, wow, I remember when this was brand new, spanking new, and now it's all in ruins. Long Island Railroad Station off to the right here, the ticket booths off there. The blue and orange panels are gone. Now, sadly, of course, the whole stadium is gone. And that's the end of that roll. So let me see about one more roll, see which one it is. Okay, we'll go back to August of '64. Snack patio, we're looking across the road. Here's over to Alaska. VIP level again. Looks better in yellow than in white, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All the lights lit up there for the capitals of the world. You can see the lights start changing. They were simulating the passage of the sun going around.
Cool picture.
So now the lighting has gone and changed more. Over to Africa.
Another cool picture.
Yeah, I like the luminaire shots and the way this came out.
Mm-hmm.
Looking down the fountains, the fair, down here, the fireworks show is getting ready.
Wow.
People probably know it, but these lights were made with multiple filaments in them, and they have a motor in them, so that if the first set of lights burned out, it would automatically detect it, and the motor would switch over the next set of filaments. It was done by a company in New Jersey, and the whole thing was this way you don't have to change your light bulbs during the fair, because you can imagine how hard it'd be to get somebody up here to do that. So today, of course, you could put LEDs in and they would last forever. But I thought that was pretty neat that somebody actually thought of this and put motorized lights in there.
I wonder if that company also made radio tower lights, because that was a typical arrangement for tower lights that they could switch over to a fresh bulb if necessary.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I think it's called Circle D, if I remember right, was the name of the company.
There's a company called Square D.
Maybe
Yeah,
it might be Square D.
Square D does a lot of lighting and circuit breakers. And all that stuff.
Well, they work. They're pretty bright, aren't they?
They are. That one picture, with the fountains going on underneath the monument, they look like people.
Are those little light fixtures still up there today? Are the light fixtures still on the Unisphere today?
The lights
No.
are there, but they're not connected. They cut all the cables
Yeah, I know
off
the wires have been
ground.
cut at the base.
It doesn't light up anymore.
No.
Yeah, they just chopped all the wires, and you can still see them sticking out of the base.
I've seen that. There's a big junction box there. They cut off all the cables.
Yeah.
I like this one, the angle the guy got and the lights and the clouds and everything. Again, I think some pictures you just look at and you go, they came out really nice.
Irv, I think they cut the lights clear back out just like right after the fair, because my wife and I went that night and they weren't there. And that was clear back in the 70s.
Yeah, I remember being there. The fountain was empty, and I walked to the base of the Unisphere, and there was a junction box. The cover was missing. You can see all the wires, and they were just been all cut off.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
different colored wires were all just sticking out of it.
Yeah.
Aircraft warning light up on the top.
Gosh,
It's
a great
interesting,
picture.
the effect of the lights for the capital cities is almost makes it look like it's a firework that just went off.
Yeah. And Tom must feel like he's home now.
Oh, I do. It's like probably a mile away from our house.
Yeah.
Boy, this guy really took some great pictures.
Yeah,
he did.
for the night shots, these are very nicely done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you figure it'd be somewhere with a tripod. Let me just look for something here real quick.
And maybe he was somebody that really knew what he was doing too,
Yeah.
instead of just point and shoot.
Had the right speed film.
Okay.
Yeah, Earth asked about replacing the luminaires, and another reason for replacing them is they use very unique flat fluorescent bulbs, which had poor lifetime reliability, and manufacture of them stopped a few years later. So they would have had a big problem maintaining those luminaires.
Yeah, you're right. They were very specialized bulbs.
Very. I just
Bill, did you have to do much work to these?
Yeah, a bunch of them did take a fair amount of work to clean up. I had somewhere, I can't find it right now. I do have pictures of that electrical box and a future trip all chopped to pieces. So you know, it's someday maybe somebody will come up with the money to relight those lights, or you know, put in LEDs or something. But there's all those lights. People probably know this. All the lights are world capitals except for well, there's the red light on top, but who knows why there's one other light up there. There's one light. Oh, Scott's got his hand up.
No.
Oh,
He's still in the hospital,
yeah,
if you
Yeah.
haven't noticed in the picture.
yeah.
Yeah, I can
There's
see
one-
that.
There's one light up there, which is on the Mohawk Indian Reservation in upstate New York. And that's to honor all these steel workers that went and built all the buildings of the fair and built the Unisphere. There's one light up there to honor their efforts. So
Contribution. Yeah.
yeah, if you look at it, you can see there's a capital for, you know, Washington DC, but why is this light upstate New York for the Mohawk Indians? Yeah,
Well,
Scott, I'm glad you're
Right.
able to join us. You know, when are they going to let you out of there?
It'll be at least another week.
Wow.
They
When you do
they
something, do it
thought there
right.
was some problems yesterday. They did a whole bunch of tests. So far, 9 out of 10 came back clean, and we're just waiting to see what the blood cultures come back in 2 days.
Wow.
But I had
You
to
didn't- you
join
didn't
in because you guys are keeping my sanity. So I'm almost
You want to go to
tapped
hospital?
out.
Where are you at, Scott? Where's the hospital at?
I'm at Mercy Medical Center Rehab in Rockville Center, not far from,
Yeah. All right, right off the highway there.
right off the Southern State, Bill.
God,
Oh, you're
mercy.
right in New York. You're in the New York area. Okay.
My parents used to joke that there's a whole wing on there, the Cotter Children wing. The number of times we took some ball or did something stupid and ended
I'll
up-
take a look for it.
Yeah. Well, just
But,
reading the chat here, Eric had put in, people may have seen this, the style those women were wearing was for postulate pre-candidacy nuns. The one we were trying to figure out, the hatless nuns. So I'm
Hatless
glad
nun.
you figured that out.
Don't tell me anything.
What?
Tell me, don't need anything.
Yeah,
But
just made by paint. Oh, American cheese. Jim Brown gave us some education on paint fading.
guys, I'm gonna have to step out now.
Oh no, you're
So,
not. You're not stepping.
You mean you can
Uh,
climb out of the bed now? You're going to climb out of the bed?
Tell them to give you good pain meds.
Oh, yeah. I'm on enough. I could always use more, but thanks, guys. Just being here, listening to Bill every week,
Well, keep
it's
mending.
definitely helped today. It's
Oh,
definitely
Yeah.
helped.
glad to have been able to
And the
help.
fact that we're at the World's Fair really helped.
Good. Well, yay, New York, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
take care, Scott. Take
Be
care.
good, guys.
Take care, Scott.
Take
Bye-bye.
the boss for a good lunch, Bill.
Okay.
So long, Carol.
She's waving there.
Okay.
Great. Well, I hope folks enjoyed going back. Like I said, when I first started scanning pictures, I made that trip back in 87 or whatever it was, and said, oh, I'll start, looking for my pictures and my family pictures, and I don't have that many. Oh, I'll start buying them. Well, that has not stopped. So,
Yeah, Carol would probably like to go back and distract you that day.
yeah, yeah, take the time. But it could be worse. What if I didn't get into photo collection? I got into golf. I mean, something. So
Taxidermy.
yeah, well, no, I mean, a golf widow, they're at home by themselves. At least I'm here in the house. So when she says, oh, I got this email that doesn't make sense, I can just walk down there and do it. So, but hey, there's worse vices than World's Fairs and theme parks and stuff like that, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So, well, I'm not sure where we'll do next week. It's had such an incredibly busy week. I didn't even turn this film scanner on, and there's more of them have come in that are stacked up. So there's always something in Casa de Cotter to keep busy. So
Thank you.
Oh, sure, no problem. Matter of fact, Cody, one of the movies that just came in is from Knott's, so I'll have to see about getting to
Oh,
that.
I'd love to see that.
And one that's underway here that I can't wait to see is from the Bonanza Ranch up in Lake Tahoe. Did anybody?
Oh, I've never been there. Well, that'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
Anybody ever go there?
No, I've been by.
We went
Yeah.
there the
Really?
year.
Remember seeing the signs.
Yeah, we went there the year before it closed, and the guy Larry Ellison owns Oracle bought it as his private reserve now, and he's bought up half of Lake Tahoe. But I was a big fan of Bonanza. Matter of fact, I'm looking at my wall at the map of the Ponderosa that we bought up there, and they would serve you sarsaparilla in tin cups, and I have a bunch of Bonanza tin cups stacked in the closet. But it was really great because you walk in there and they had Sheriff Coffey's jail and that sort of stuff. But one of the greatest things was they had, like a typical Western town. They have the bad guy shoot the sheriff and everything. But the sheriff and bad guy are out there, and all of a sudden a guy walks out of a building. This was when I think was all the Sprint commercials were on, and he walks out into the street and goes, "Can you hear me now?" And they turn around, they shoot him. He falls down the street, and the sheriff turns and says, "I bet people wanted to do that." And the show goes on 20 minutes with the guy just lying there in his face. It got the biggest laugh, I think, of any live show I've ever been at. It was wonderful.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. So I have pictures we took up there, but I'm looking forward to getting the movie. They have the Ponderosa or the Virginia City Stagecoach line and all the rest of it.
Wow, sounds neat.
It was really neat because you went into the house. The house looks just like it did, in the show, the outside. But you went inside and there's Ben's desk, and they had the gun belts, hanging there, and it was really a neat spot. My dad loved Bonanza too, and he got a real kick out of going to the ranch, and we were so lucky. Next year was gone. It's just timing is everything.
Well, they said, that wall, I think it was the wall behind his desk or some wall that they always shot in the show. He actually had built into his home that he built with money from that because he loved that wall so much. So they had the exact same wall in his house.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. When you went up there, they kind of lied to you that, oh, this is where the show was shot. Here is where the cameras would be. all those interiors were done on a soundstage
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, but they did do occasionally, and they built this thing totally as a theme park. It wasn't built to act as a movie set, but they said, oh, as long as it's up there, we might as well do some shots. And so in a couple episodes, there's shots of them and you can see the lake down below, but all the other shots where they ride up and they jump off the horse, all done inside a soundstage. But it was total kitschy, absolutely 60s silliness. It was really cool. So I can't wait to get that movie in.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I think they were a pretty evil bunch, though. You know, I remember they tried to bring Guy Williams in, and he just said they treated him.
I heard about that. What's his name? He's gone now.
Guy Williams.
Yeah, no, Guy Williams, but one of the performance guys.
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, and the little guy, I don't remember his name. He's dead too.
Michael Landon.
Williams.
Michael Landon.
He was afraid that Guy Williams would have been get more fan mail and be more, you know, more love from the audience than he was. So he made that show just really hard for Guy Williams. And after about three shows, Guy Williams left.
Yeah, it was Michael Landon. He was very jealous.
Yeah. I'm a big Guy Williams fan. So that was really poor.
Have you read the book? It's like 800 pages.
You know, I know the lady that wrote that book.
You do?
Antoinette? Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was over there talking to her and she told me she was going to write this book. And I thought, God, I can't believe she's going to do that. And she did it.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
She came to one of your talks.
She came to the one of Zorro that you did. Yes.
Right.
She came to a couple of them. Yeah.
Nice lady.
Yeah, she was. She acted like she knew you.
Yeah, we had been corresponding, but that was the first time I think we actually got
I actually met her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Brock, I don't know, Brock's still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
There you are. I don't know if you saw, there's a thing coming up in Burbank, I think on May 15th or something, about Disney. A guy just put out a book about Disney the computers and animation and how technology built the Disney of today. And they're doing a free talk on it. A guy named Roland Betancourt wrote the book and I contributed to it. So if you go online to the Burbank Library site, it's free tickets. And I've reserved one for you, Carol, too. But the book goes, yes, Beth is trying to show it. Rise of Automation. So again,
and that's the Burbank Library is going to have that.
Burbank Library, yeah.
Okay.
Beth, have you had a chance to read any of the book yet? Any comments on it?
No, I haven't started yet. I just got it a couple days ago in the mail. So I think it was just released maybe Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some bits and pieces of it, and it looked really good. I was glad to contribute to it. So my free copy is on the way, so I haven't bought it yet. So I'm hoping to get it. But I think it's May 15th is his talk. 13th, 15th, it's a Tuesday, I think. And anyways, free tickets. You just have to go online and reserve them.
So you just go to is it the library's website?
Yeah.
Okay, so just look up Burbank Library, and I'm sure it'll say website.
Yes, Burbank Library events.
Okay, events. All right.
So I don't
Thank you.
Cody, you're in the area. I think everybody else is far away, but it should be fun. And Tom Morris is going to go and I think introduce him and lead a discussion about the stuff. And if you guys know Tom's a real good speaker and fascinating guy with it all. So we'll have a mini WED reunion and see if we can make it, Brock. And then
I'll try to make it.
We can go to Pinocchio's.
Is that near Pinocchio's?
Yes, it is. It's very near Pinocchio's. So hope folks have a great week, and we'll see you back next week.
Take care now.
All right.
Thanks a million.
Next week, all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.